The Oakland A's. Last night, the Oakland Port Commission held a closed-door session regarding negotiations about Howard Terminal. The A's and the Port have been in talks about a purchase price for the site of the team's proposed ballpark. Meantime, A's executives are exploring other options in other cities, including Las Vegas, and that is where we will start this conversation. A's President Dave Kaval joins us live this morning. Dave, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. To the tweet we go here. Look, you tweeted video from inside the Golden Knights playoff game in Las Vegas saying, wow, hashtag Stanley Cup playoffs, Golden Knights. Look, Dave, to many A's fans I've been speaking with, it was a punch in the gut. Like you were taunting them. I mean, the A's were even playing at the time, and here you are posting this from an outside perspective. It seems like you're kind of sticking it to the fans, and if not the fans, to the city council. Why did you do it?
Well, I think it's important to remember that we're on parallel paths here. One, we have an effort in Oakland, 5 years, even 20 years in the making, to bring a waterfront ballpark to fruition. And we've also been directed by the league to explore other markets, specifically Southern Nevada and Las Vegas. And so we're doing both those things. We had a fact-finding trip to Las Vegas and Southern Nevada this week. We've learned a lot based on that trip. We met a lot of important people. But at the same token, we have a vote on the 20th of July to see if our waterfront ballpark can get approved at the city council in Oakland. So we're hopeful that we get an affirmative vote on that.
Do you not think that video was offensive to A's fans? Do you understand where they're coming from?
Well, I think it's important to remember that we owe it, and I owe it to everyone, our players, our fans, our partners in MLB, to bring this 20-year saga to a conclusion. We need to know where to play. We're running out of time. Our current facility is 10 years past its useful life, and we can barely keep the lights on. The light standards aren't even working. So we need to bring this to a conclusion. The process can't be the product, and we need to focus on ensuring that we find a ballpark for the A's. And we have a plan in Oakland, and we really want to make sure that that's voted on in an effective way, and hopefully we get an affirmative vote. But we also need to be realistic and have other options that we're pursuing, and that's why we were in Las Vegas.
So it sounds like there's no apology here. You're not going to apologize for that tweet.
Well, I think it's important to understand that, what we're trying to do here is explore parallel paths to markets. We have to do that because we're running out of time. We've been directed by Major League Baseball. Part of our efforts in Nevada was to understand, the local sporting events, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Aviators, our AAA team. And so we attended those events this last week, and that was an important aspect to understanding what's possible there. But at the same time, we're doing everything we can in Oakland to make that a reality.
I know. We've talked about it a lot, and I know you're the president of the team. John Fisher's the owner. Was he in Las Vegas with you? Was he involved with these talks?
We had a delegation that included ownership like myself and John Fisher, meeting with folks in Las Vegas. And we've obviously engaged with folks in Oakland for 5 or 6 years, myself, other members of the ownership, including John. So we've done that in both markets and in the parallel paths, and that'll continue, and that'll be an important part of getting to success. And in some ways, just bringing this long saga to a conclusion. Our fans deserve answers. The current situation is untenable, and we need to bring this to a head and ensure that we have a future as a franchise.
I don't know how many times I've talked to you on this newscast about this proposed ballpark at Howard Terminal. It's been a number of times over about 5 years. I sense the frustration. I saw a little bit of that in the tweet. So based on your trip to Las Vegas, you and ownership, John Fisher, are you interested or are you not interested in that city?
We're going to continue to have the two parallel paths going, one with Southern Nevada, one with Oakland. We don't have a lot of time in our current facility. These processes take a while to get these stadiums both greenlit and then also built. And so we have to start looking at these other options per MLB directive to ensure we have somewhere to play, because we don't know what's going to happen past 2024. We're running out of time, and we're just at an unfortunate point that we have to look at other places.
What about money? What about money, Dave? Because you've talked about privately financing the ballpark in Oakland. We know the Raiders got a ton of cash, right? $750 million in public money to get them there. Is Las Vegas, did that come up in these conversations, throwing money at you, at the organization, so that you don't have to privately finance a ballpark? Maybe it's not 100%, but maybe it's like 50%?
Well, I think it's important in any of these large projects, it's a public-private partnership. And so the public and private capital are working together in different ways. And in different states, it happens differently, whether it's tax increment, whether it's direct subsidy like you see in some other locations. And those types of negotiations occur over time, and we'll continue to have that in Las Vegas. And we're continuing to do that in Oakland. We've laid out our vision for the waterfront ballpark. It's a tremendous vision. It's privately financed. We're really hoping we get a yes vote, but we know it's taken 5 years even to get to this point, and we have concerns about the rate of progress, and so does the league.
So was there any agreement on that purchase price? You know, we talked about that closed door session at the start of this interview.
I really don't have any visibility into that.
Okay.
What happened with the port. I know that they've been a great partner. They voted unanimously in 2019. Almost 2 years ago, they voted unanimously, and we still have not got a vote of the city council. So we just need to keep moving this thing forward. We're happy that Rebecca Kaplan, the council vice president, actually put it on the vote on the 20th, and we're hopeful that we get an affirmative vote.
So when I saw the video of the hockey game, look, I think, look, that's playoff hockey. Of course it's going to be packed, right? When I think about the Raiders, you get 8 home games. Those games, you know, post-pandemic, they're going to be packed. So with the feasibility, though, that's the question for Southern Nevada. I mean, whether it's Vegas or Henderson, do you think that that region can support 81 home games?
Well, we're learning. I don't have an answer to that yet. We're learning about the strength of the local market. We're also understanding what is possible, locations, venue selection, the same types of stuff we done in Oakland over the years to determine what makes the most sense. And then obviously seeing the speed at which something could occur, because I think that's another factor as well. You know, one of our challenges is in Oakland is even with the approval, the earliest the city says it could actually be open is 2027. So we need to do what we can to speed things up, to work as efficiently as possible to ensure that these venues can get out of the ground, because we can't keep playing where we are for much longer.
What about Portland? How serious is Portland right now? You know, you've been to Vegas.
I know there were some rumors about a trip to Portland. That is inaccurate.
So you're not going to Portland? No one in the organization is going to Portland?
Nope.
Are you even interested in Portland?
You know, we're focused on, you know, getting an affirmative vote in Oakland and a parallel path in Las Vegas. And that's where we are right now. I'm going back to New York next week, meeting with the commissioner, updating him on the progress of where we are, and I'll continue to update the media and the communities.
What about the option of selling the team? Has John Fisher mentioned anything about that?
The team is not for sale.
And next week, are you going to meet with the commissioner of baseball about your trip to Las Vegas, kind of get him up to speed with your take on it?
Yeah, we're headed back to New York. We have a series of meetings there. It's important to keep the league really intimately abreast of the situation. You know, they're really leading this effort in terms of the other markets. And obviously they want to ensure for the best of baseball that the A's have a home and a new ballpark, because it's been going on for over 20 years.
All right, Dave. Well, I appreciate the conversation. We could keep going, but I got to run. And let's just hope, you know, the council puts a vote up sooner than later.
Yep.
And whether we get a yes or a no, we need an answer.